Hey friend, it's Mesha with the Golden Nugget of the Day to help you along your way. Happy New Year to everybody. I pray that this is going to be a great year for you. I am off and away from work, and I'm so grateful. Hopefully you all got a chance to take a little time off during the holiday season. I don't know how rested you feel. I don't feel all that rested myself, but I'm just glad that I got a chance to take a few days off. And you know, for the last few weeks, actually, God has given me two words that I believe pertain to this new year. Those words were yield and surrender. And those words are basically synonymous with one another. They mean to give up something to another power or to the power of another. Right? And of course, we're talking about giving up something to God. So what do you mean, Mesha, yield or surrender? What does that have to do with 2023? I believe that God gave me those words to say that He basically expects us to live for Him, to yield to or give up our lives or our ideas, our motives to Him. Yield to His Spirit. Allow His Spirit to lead us through this year, to pay particular attention to what He is saying to us to do or not to do. And it took me a while to get a verse that correlates with what He was saying. Actually, God gave me these words about 2 weeks ago, but I finally came upon a verse today that I want to give to you. So go with me to the Bible, to Romans chapter 12 and verse 1, King James Version only. And it reads, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. God wants us to live for Him. When the Bible talks about being a living sacrifice, we know that back in the Bible days, there were times when they had to sacrifice animals, and that meant that they killed them. But God is not saying that we are necessarily having to die for Him per se, but God wants us to live for Him. Let's kind of go through this verse. I beseech you, therefore, brethren. Some of the other translations start with the word therefore. I beseech you, which means, and for this reason, as to say something came before that, right? So the first 11 chapters of the book of Romans has to deal with doctrine or law. You know what I'm saying? And the last few chapters deal with applying those laws, how to apply those laws. So therefore, I'm giving you these instructions, and this is how I want you to apply them. So that's how this verse starts. So I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice. He wants us to live for Him, but to yield our bodies to Him, surrender our bodies to Him. How do we do that? Holy, acceptable unto God. Holy, when we talk about holy, we're talking about the absence of sin. So we need to really pay attention to what we're doing in this season. Are we doing things that are pleasing unto God? Because we are set aside for Him. As believers, we are set aside for Him. So holy, acceptable unto God, pleasing unto God. That's how God wants us to carry ourselves through this season, which is our reasonable service. Why is this a reasonable service? Because of what He did for us. By the mercies of God. Think about what God did for us on the cross, how He took our place, how He became sin on the cross for us so that we wouldn't have to. This is our reasonable service because of what He did for us. So God is expecting us to yield or surrender or become living sacrifices for Him in this season in order for those things to become manifest for us to gain access to, for us to receive the greater, we need to yield ourselves over to Him, become living sacrifices, live for Him in this season. All right? This verse is talking about our body, but the verse that we will discuss next week, we'll talk about our mind, which is the very next verse. I love y'all, and Happy New Year again. We'll talk next week.